Welcome to Epic, another podcast episode from With Purpose. My name is Chris, and I am the owner as well as lead business strategist. Our guest today is Evan George with Bluejay Media. Evan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being on. I know that I've been trying to get you to do something like this for a little bit of time. I've got you, so I'm going to just assume that the timing is right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of give us a brief introduction to who Evan George is.
Sure. Well, nice to meet everybody. My name's Evan, and I own a company called Bluejay Media, based out of Arizona, and we specialize in video production. Could be anything for companies, small business, medium business. We also have a wedding segment as well. So if you're getting married anytime in the next year or two, have a call and we can see what we can do for you. The long and the short of it is I'm just a family guy who I really wanted to work for myself, and I was doing a lot of marketing for companies around the valley. A little bit of video, sure, but some photos, some SEO, some website work. And it wasn't that I got tired of it. It's just I wasn't built to sit at a desk and just do that. I really feel the need to have a new project to tackle. And something different to do. I don't like the same thing in and out. And so I saw video production as a means to do that. And so I took a leap, started the business, and the rest is kind of history.
How long have you been in business?
So I've been in business since February or March of 2018. So that's actually being on my own 2 feet doing this full time. Of course, I dabbled in this for about a decade before that. So I've got a lot of experience behind me, but Bluejay Media is just a baby company right now.
Okay, all right. Well, you did mention about being a family man. Tell us a little bit about, as much as you want us to know about you and your family.
Sure. No, I got to keep it a secret. No. So my wife is Jenna, and we've got a little one on the way, due end of May. And then I have an 8-year-old Tegan who's just in the other room because school's canceled. So hey, we're now all at home working or doing schoolwork from home, and it's been really good. We've got 3 dogs because 2 wasn't enough and 1 wasn't enough. So and so it's nice. We also just got our first house. I'm 27 years old, and I've been renting my whole life, just trying to find the right city, and nestled down into the North Phoenix, North Glendale area. Started to fall in love with the people in the area. The school system has been nothing short of phenomenal for my daughter, and so we finally bought our very first home this year. So we're excited to really set some roots.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on all that. You got a lot of changes that have taken place within the past 12 months, from a house to a new child on the way.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That it is. So just to kind of break the ice and get to know a little bit more the deeper of Evan George,
Sure.
Between a room, a desk, or a car, which one do you clean first?
A room, a desk, or a car? Well, definitely never a desk. So desk is last place. I'd say car. I got to clean anything with a motor in it first.
Okay, and why would that be?
I'm a tinkerer, so I know that if I clean a bedroom or a desk, that's boring stuff to me. If I clean out my truck, I'm gonna go, I also have to replace this or that, and for some reason, I just have to get my hands dirty.
Okay. Do you have a favorite word that you like to use?
I have been ever since like 10 years ago, I have been saying no worries, which is not a word, but it's a phrase, just like the Australians do. If you go to Australia, it's a very common phrase here, not so much. I got an uncle who lives out there, and I've been to Sydney, and I took that back, and I can't let it go. I say no worries to almost everything.
Okay. So you have no idea of really what that, I mean, like if I were to hear you tell me no worries, what should I take from that?
Usually it's in the context of, I'll open the door for somebody, they say thank you, and I go, no worries. Or somebody says, hey, I'm so sorry, we're out of napkins at a restaurant. And I'll go, oh, no worries. Like, it's just my default response.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. I don't think it's like a mantra, but it's definitely just how I am. I don't really worry about too much. You just gotta go with what you got.
Okay. All right. Very good. So you started to allude a little bit about Bluejay Media. So spend a few moments telling us some of the deep things about your business, and then also your why. Why did you get into it? I know you kind of
Sure.
alluded to it a little bit, but expand on that.
I'll start by saying the hardest thing about starting any company for me was figuring out where am I in this industry? Am I exclusively in weddings? Am I exclusively for businesses? If I just do businesses, is it testimonials? Is it animated videos? Um, and the hard part is my personality is not one thing. So it was very hard for me to sit down and figure out what is that one thing. Well, to tell you the truth, I still haven't settled. We still will dabble with almost any project. Um, so coming from the marketing world, I had an employer who I felt like I was doing so well marketing her business that I was almost pushing myself out of a job. That's genuinely how I felt. I was like, man, she's not going to need me because I'm setting her up for a long-term success. Why pay me if you're now number one on this and number one on that? You already have all your content. So I made a deal with her and I said, hey, listen, instead of being my employer, how about you be my client? And I'll still do some work for you, but that kind of helps me get my feet off the ground with this new business.
Mm.
So I did do that, and that led to a lot of jobs, a lot of testimonials, a lot of company profile videos. I've done some nonprofit videos as well. Um, and then when my wife and I got married, we we ended up loving our wedding video, which we didn't expect. Like, it seriously was not even something that was mandatory for our wedding, but we ended up hiring a videographer for our wedding. And we loved that video so much that I was like, listen, I need to push my skill set into that industry too and do this for other couples. So not only do we do animated videos and corporate videos and all that stuff, but we started to do things for couples, which is its own world. I mean, absolutely, it is entirely different expectations, different equipment, different everything. Um, but it does allow me one thing that most people can't do, and that's work with my wife on the weekends when we do have gigs. And so, some people probably can't stand working with their significant other. They kind of they like to be in their own space, but um, I honestly I can't imagine any other way. So we love the wedding work because it kind of helps us work more as a family and less, I don't know, it just more as a family. And I think I'll just leave it at that. It's nice.
Sure. So let me just ask you real quick, Evan. So if you're doing wedding photography or videography, sorry, does your wife play the role as a wedding planner, or do you work with another person in that role?
She wants to. We've got, not right now. We have a long-term goal, and I'll let the cat out of the bag just in case someone listens to this and wants to help us out anytime. Our long-term goal is to actually have a venue of our own, and she does the planning and the coordinating, and then I can do all of the coverage in the media and all that stuff. So that's a long-term thing. As of right now, when it comes to corporate stuff, she doesn't help me out. I have other professionals that I subcontract with, or a lot of times it's just myself. Um, and then for weddings, she's got a camera too, and we're both kind of splitting up. You do this, I'll do this, that kind of stuff.
Very good. Very good. So it would be safe to say then that she would agree that she enjoys working alongside you as well.
I can't speak for her. I mean, she's just super nice and does it. I don't know if she enjoys it.
You should ask her, and then
I
come
will.
back and let us know.
Yeah.
So what are some things? So you said that your business is a baby business.
hmm
What are some things that you've already learned as a business owner?
I see. I have, when I started the company, I tried to mimic what I saw out there, and that is in a lot of different categories. I tried to mimic other people's contracts. I tried to mimic other people's cost. And I tried to mimic other people's equipment and setup and how they do things. I would say that the number one thing that I have learned is that, at least in my industry and the way I do things, there is a very customized way that I can run my business that works for me and works for my clients. And I'll give you a quick example. A lot of people in my industry have packages, or they have very, very, very set pricing, you know. But I work with people with all sorts of budgets. Somebody will come up to me and say, I know it's cheap, but I only have this many dollars to spend on advertising. I go, wait, don't shortchange yourself. You can absolutely get what you want. And it wasn't always like that for me. I was like, oh, no, that nobody would do it for that cost. I wouldn't do it for that cost. And I have learned that I would much rather have a booked appointment on a Thursday or a Saturday and do it for a little bit less if it was the right, if it was the right type of work for me, than not have anything at all and stick my feet in the sand. And I've learned that as an entrepreneur that I have that ability to be flexible with some people, and that does go both ways. So I think that's the number one thing, is being more flexible and not trying to act like a corporation that, nope, we do it this way, or not at all.
Okay, that's great. I'm going to tell you that probably some of our listeners are going to be really glad that you said that, because we have in this mindset that we should be acting like a corporation when they've got years of experience underneath them, or they're maybe a couple hundred employees plus, right?
Yeah.
And here you are, you and your wife, doing what you do best and tapping into your personality, and saying, you know what, I care about you because I remember where I was at that point in time, right?
Right.
It's not just the sympathy, it's the empathy that goes along with that. And I think that people listening to that are going to be like, that might be an aha moment for them. I don't have to act a particular way.
Sure. You don't have to do what everyone around you does. Now, that's not always the case, right? Sometimes everyone does it because it works. But it was really refreshing to get some of the responses from our clients to go, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're willing to work with me on this or that. It doesn't always have to be about money. Maybe it's about scheduling, right? Some people are only able to do things later at night or early in the morning. And there's a lot of companies who turn them down just based off of that. But we try to be flexible with almost every single criteria and work with people. So I think that works really well for us.
Yeah, I would agree. So what is one thing that you know now that you wish you had known when you started?
That it'll all be okay. When you start a business, it is by all means the most exciting but terrifying time, because you're leaving something steady for something unknown, right? You have to fill in those blanks yourself. And so if I could go back in time and just say, dude, you're doing the right thing. It's not all, roses. I don't know the phrase, but it's not all like roses and rainbows. But it is going to be all right. You are going to make things work, and you're going to do well, and people are going to appreciate you for what you do. It'd be nice to hear that when I was starting, when I was sweating bullets. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Sure. And you know what? And when we're having this dialogue right now, we're in the middle of this pandemic that's happening.
Sure. Yeah.
And regardless of the size of the business that we all have, we're right there along with the other larger businesses who are not as flexible to pivot to adjust their sails in this wind, if you will. Where you are, and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to continue doing what I do best, right?
Right.
Have you had to adjust at all during this time?
Well, funny enough, I love that you throw the word pivot out there, and I did read your ebook, Pivot. I recommend anybody watching this to try to grab that as well, because what I read in there and what I've been implementing is writing down those goals, writing down what changes you want to make, and then kind of holding yourself accountable. I think that's one of the things out of the many things that you spoke about in that ebook. That's one of the things that really I took to is holding yourself accountable and making more time for yourself. So I've done both of those things.
Good for you.
As far as the wedding industry, that came to a screaming halt. I didn't have to make time for myself. The world did that for me. And then those changes, I've been holding myself a lot more accountable to deadlines and timelines. Not that it was a problem before, but it's good to try to perfect something, right? A change doesn't have to be because you were doing it wrong the whole time.
Correct.
Sometimes a change is just because you want to get it better or right. So anyways, hope that answers it. I don't know if it did. I was kind of rambling.
Yeah, that's really good. And that's something that you're going to look back on 3 years from now, let's say, and you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe I made it through.
Sure.
Whereas companies right now that are larger than a typical small business, let's say, they're having a difficult time because they're not as flexible
Right.
to adjust. And at the same time, we're kind of all in the same ocean, if you will. I think we're in different boats because I think some are doing better than others, but we're all in
Yep.
the same ocean.
Yep.
So speaking of that, you're in an industry that is pretty well known. We all want pictures. We all want video. Tell us a little bit about, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. So why your business? Why Bluejay Media? What separates you from other businesses in your industry?
I mean, the biggest thing is going to be the creativity when somebody approaches me, and again, this is going to be corporate world or what, it doesn't matter what the project is, right? Or it doesn't matter. When somebody approaches me and says, I would like this type of content, or I don't know what I want. I just want more traffic, or I just want this to happen as a result of me hiring you. You're going to get something different no matter who you hire. And that's just the reality of my industry, right? You're always going to have a different thought process. What I find different about myself, because you are going to work with me if you hire Bluejay Media. I'll be behind the camera. I'll be answering the phone, responding to emails. So what you are getting from me is a very specific mindset to your end goal. Because a lot of people can go buy a camera and hit record and say some things, and maybe they can even do the editing and post it online. But if that content doesn't do what you wanted it to, you wasted time, you wasted resources, money, whatever it is.
True.
It was all a waste. I try my absolute best to understand what your end goal is, what you want me to have to produce for you, what you want that to do for your company or yourself. And that's where I start, and I work backwards from there. So a very long-winded way to say, I think kind of the opposite direction that most people do. And it seems to work. People, when they're finished with me and I deliver a project, and they use it and they post it and they share it or whatever, they typically get exactly, if not more, than what they were asking for. And yeah, I hope to keep that track record going.
Very good. So you certainly have, or you appear to have the eye for the video as well as the pictures. Do you also create content?
Well, content in regards to like copyright, not necessarily. Maybe can you get more specific with that?
Well, like if you are hearing from somebody that they don't know what they want, they certainly don't want to waste their time, and you say, okay, this is your business, and you kind of do a little bit behind the scenes research on them. Do you help guide them? I guess maybe not develop it completely. Okay.
Yeah. So it is more of a complete process, or at least it can be. Some people do just hire me and say, hey, we need this done and done. Right? We don't need the rest of the stuff. But most people who actually hire me are smaller businesses who say, I don't necessarily know what I need. And not only that, but once you produce that video or content for me, I don't know where to put it. I don't know what to do with it. because I have the background of marketing, right? I've got a lot of experience in just the marketing portion of things, the SEO, like I was saying. Um, we can have those conversations up front about, okay, here's where we're going to upload your video. Why do we use this platform versus another? Okay, and then here's how we're going to spread it around. And genuinely, if there is something that goes beyond the services that are on my website, I will either A, help them out just because I have that knowledge, or B, I have made a lot of connections with people who do this really, really well, and are cost effective too. And so sometimes I will pass on those leads to other professionals, if it's out of my wheelhouse.
Okay. Okay. So with that being said, what would be like one thing that people seem to misunderstand about your industry?
Um, well, there's a lot of things people misunderstand about my industry, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint just one thing. I would say the biggest misconception is that you are going to receive the same product no matter what the cost. Um, there are folks who receive a quote from me, and I'm just going to throw something out there. Let's just say it's like 600 bucks. Maybe the person listening to this, they're like, wow, that's a lot. And maybe somebody listening to that is, holy cow, 600, right? I paid 10,000 for my video, right?
Sure.
It's always a subjective thing when it comes to what you believe is pricey or not. But for the sake, I say 600 bucks. Somebody will, of course, find someone who will do it for free, who will do it for $50. They're going to, of course, find some other people too who will quote 2,000 or 5,000 for that same project. And they are under the impression, they as in like this imaginary client, right?
Right.
They're under this impression that they're going to receive the same thing no matter what. So why even bother with 5,000? Why even bother with Bluejay Media who quoted me 6? Let's go with the free, or go with the $100 person. And it is so unfortunate because it's the same. I mean, an analogy is taking your vehicle, your daily driver, right, to a mechanic who says, "Oh, no big deal, I'll do that for $10," versus a shop that says, "Well, it's going to be 500 bucks, but let me explain why, and here's what we're going to do." Right? Sure, your car may work out of the shop, but is it gonna take you home? Right? Is it going to take you on that trip to California or wherever? And I like to think that my stuff is quality, in the sense that I charge a reasonable fee, but not so much that I'm breaking any banks. And like I said earlier, I'm super flexible. Like we've handled a lot of projects all over the board and all over the budgets, and we make things work no matter what.
Very cool. That was a great explanation.
I hope so.
And I
I have
think I think you're going to get the point across. That was really good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for explaining that. So kind of going on the personal side, or maybe combining personal and business, if there was
Yeah.
a book to be written about you, what would the title be? And then what would be said on the back of that book in summary?
Oh my gosh. A book about me or my business?
Either one.
Well, if it's a book about me, no one's going to be able to understand it. It's just going to be chapter 1 is going to be about welding. Chapter 2 is going to be about video. Chapter 3 is going to be about woodworking. All of my hobbies, because I have too many to ever count. Which is why Chris, if you ever need a random tool, a random thing to fix something, come over. I probably have it somewhere, right?
Okay.
I'm a hoarder of things useful.
I wouldn't know how to use it.
I might not either, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, if it's a book about me, no one's going to understand it, and it will never have a beginning or a middle or an end. It'll just be words. If it's about our business, the book, did you ask me the title?
Yes.
What it would be called?
Yep.
It'll be my tagline that you've heard me say before. Wow, that looked amazing, or wow, that looks amazing. That's the title of it.
Wow, that looks amazing. Okay.
That's the reaction that I always get. What was your follow-up on that?
What would be said on the back of the book in summary? Like there's that little paragraph.
He never does it. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a fun way to say that. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but I know what needs to be done, and I get it done. You know, sometimes you will hire, and that's the other thing about being an entrepreneur. Sometimes you will walk into a business and you feel like they have it all figured out. You say what you need, they tell you the price, you pay for it, they provide it, that's it. I have learned through being an entrepreneur that no one is perfect. You walk into a grocery store, behind those walls, those guys they don't know what they're doing, right? They're just throwing stuff on shelves going, I hope this is right. Maybe not true on that sense, but for me, I have a very clear vision of what I want my company to be and what I want to do for people and provide, but I am still learning on how to get there. My contracts look different than they did 8 months ago. My website looks different than it looked 3 months ago. And I have no intentions of settling down and being content with where I'm at. I always want to improve.
That's amazing. And I'll tell you why. Because I think you being the creative type of person that you are fits very, very well within the film and media marketing industry that you're a part of. And so what I think I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is someone comes to you and says, I like this, I want it to be looking like this, but I don't know how to get it. You say,
Sure.
okay, let me think this through, and all of a sudden the end product is what you just mentioned. Wow, that looks amazing.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Everything is subjective. I mean, some people will hire me because they've seen my work and they're like, I want exactly what I've seen. Other people hire me and say, you look like you can do this, but I don't see an example of it. And I'll go, you're right. I don't have an example. I've never done that before. Let's do it. I mean, let's get it done. You know. And so, thank you. Yeah, that is something that I work hard on. Is being able to adapt to new projects, new requests, and it works, or has so far.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it will continue to work. So,
Yeah.
Evan, for us, what would be the best compliment you've ever received?
The best compliment I've ever received has been an actual, like, an emotional response. Um, there was no words. It was just somebody looking at the content, and I was very fortunate enough to show this video in person. This is not usually our method. We usually send you in an email or a document. But I was in person for this person. I won't give away too many details for the sake of identity, but showed them the video, and just their facial expressions and their lack of words was just such a huge compliment to say that I did what they wanted me to do. In fact, I think I surpassed what they were hoping would happen.
Very good, very good. So, as we wrap this up, what are a couple things you would like our listeners to know about you or about the business?
Well, about me, I'm super down to earth. If you can't tell by the video, I'm hopefully going to be very easy to get along with. I'm not a pushover in the sense that you know, I don't do well with somebody saying I need this camera here, then this. I don't do well with micromanaging, right? But I do well with collaborating, right? What do you want this to look like? What do you want this to feel like? And then we work together to figure that out. And an ideal customer for us on the corporate side, because again, we've got two sides of the business, right? We've got the business world and the wedding world, and they are very, very different. Our ideal client on the business side is somebody who they've tried it. They've tried marketing. They've tried everything, and they really just want to get better at it, right? They want to get their message across. They want to get people coming to the website. They want to get people picking up the phone, dialing their number. Give me a call, because you might think that you need a website guy or gal to walk you through SEO and Google Analytics and all of that stuff, or Facebook marketing. But maybe what you need is somebody like me to come from a more creative approach and say, no, let's just create this animated infographic video, and it's going to do everything and more, right? And so an ideal client is going to be a small business owner who's kind of stuck and wants to improve. Now, on the wedding side of things, we have another client it's somebody who, they don't just want to remember their wedding through photos. They really want to relive the moment. I cannot tell you how many brides and grooms hire us last. We are the videographers in the wedding industry are always the final thought. Like 2 weeks before the wedding, oh my gosh, we should get a video person, that kind of thing, right? Which is great for me. It gets my adrenaline going. Like, oh my gosh, I got to pack. We got to get ready. But the perfect client is going to be somebody who they know this is a special time for them, and they really want to remember it front to back. I think we do an excellent job. I would encourage people to go to bluejayaz.com and check out some of our work there. I think that it tells the story all by itself. And if it does for you, then feel free to reach out.
Very good. And you just gave us the website. Why don't you go ahead and tell us where else we can find you? Social media, phone number, all that.
Yeah, you bet. If you go to bluejayaz.com, of course, I've got some links there. If you call our number 480-422-3210, that actually routes to my cell phone during our business hours. So I'm going to be able to get to that and answer no matter what. And then our email, I'm checking email all day long. I'm kind of addicted to just refreshing my email. So hello, like a greeting, HELLO at bluejayaz.com.
Okay, very good. Very, very good. It's been a pleasure to have you on today. Thank you so much. Everyone, our special guest today, Evan George with Bluejay Media. He told you about the ways in which you can contact them. We'll have that information available in the links as well on the website and the podcast. Thank you again, Evan. It's a pleasure. And for everybody else, thanks for listening in to Epic Elite Professionals and Coaching. It's another podcast episode brought to you by With Purpose. I hope you guys all have a great day, and whatever you do in life or your business, live it with purpose.